Welcome to another pig Q&A. I've been collecting questions for about a week now, so I have quite a few. So I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it and get some of these questions answered. First question is, how much does a pig eat during the day? And how much do I feed my pigs during the day? All my pigs eat different amounts. My adults eat anywhere from 1 to 2 cups twice a day. So anywhere from 2 to 4 cups a day, depending on which pig it is. My nursing mothers get a little over 2 cups twice a day. So they get closer to 5 cups in a day. As far as the babies downstairs, my litter that is 7 weeks, they get about between 1/8 of a cup and 1/4 of a cup twice a day. They're all a little bit different in how much food that they want and how much food they require. Our newest litter, our tree litter, they are 2 weeks old, and right now they are nursing about every 30 minutes or so, and they would do more if she would let them. So they will nurse constantly all day if she would let them, or at least pacify. But really they all eat different amounts. I look at, when I'm feeding my pigs, what I do is I look at their body. I look at how much weight they have on. Do they look a little thin? Do they look a little heavy? I adjust it daily. What are some tips to help our pig adjust to new people in the house? And I'm not sure if this question is referring to maybe like new people moved into the home, or if it's company. And I guess for both, it would kind of be the same. If your pig doesn't like company, that's pretty normal. Pigs don't like change. They don't like, and pigs are territorial. They like their home, they like their area, and they don't want anyone new coming into it at times. Topanga's fine. She doesn't really care if new people come over, but some pigs do, some pigs don't. I would say that the easiest thing to do is, at least to try first, to get your pig to like strangers, is to save a special treat for strangers to get to feed your pig. Because we all know that pigs are extremely food driven. And if they think that new people that come over have a special treat, then they're going to want to, then they'll be excited. They'll be more excited. It'll take them off their guard instead of them just being kind of grumpy and squealy. I would say if your pig doesn't like company, if it stresses them out, just crate them or put them in a safe place, because you don't want to stress your pig out for no reason, for people who are just going to be over for a couple hours. But also when it comes to like strangers feeding your pig, be really careful. Don't ever let them feed from their hand. Just have them drop it on the floor, because you don't want your pig to associate strangers' hands with food, because then you can turn them into a biter on accident. So just have them drop the treat on the floor, and then you skip that whole step of possibly tempting your pig into becoming a biter. Next question, can I put my Toy Story litter and my tree litter together? I could. And what would happen if I did? The older ones will bully the little ones, especially like if I was to feed them all together, the little ones would be squeezed out like for most of the food. They wouldn't get hardly any food. So I don't put new litters. I don't really have more than one litter at a time usually. This is the first time this has ever happened. I like to try to space them out. It just didn't work out this time. But eventually I will put them together if, this quarantine thing goes on long enough, and if I am going to wean these babies, then they will spend time with the older piglets too. And by that age, even if I do feed them, I'll feed them separately, because I know how things work. And they probably will. The older ones will probably bully the little ones a little bit, but that's kind of just how it is in a herd. I would never let any of them get beat up though. Okay, next question. How big do my pigs grow? This is a hard question for me to answer, because I want to be honest. I don't want to give misinformation. So many ethical pig breeders won't even give a weight on a pig, because a weight on a pig is so much different than, like, let's say a weight on a dog. 100-pound dog and 100-pound pig look completely different. So I give like general terms because it's hard for me to know for sure. So many things go into the weight and the ending size of a pig. How much you feed them. When they're real young, even anytime, if you're feeding them a lot of table scraps, if they're getting dog food, cat food, chicken food, if they're getting to graze excessively, if they are like just fed constantly, they're gonna grow faster, they're gonna be overweight, they're gonna be a lot bigger. So just a general rule that I tell people is a general size is about the size of an English bulldog. An English bulldog is low to the ground, they're stout, they're kind of chubby, and that's the more of a build like a pig. So I would say look at an English bulldog. If you're not happy with that size or bigger, don't get a pig, because the chances of them staying smaller is pretty rare. What is the best way to acclimate a new piglet to its new home? Well, I would say the best way is, first of all, making sure that your piglet is coming from somewhere that is, that it's social, that it's used to people, that it's used to noises and household noises and all of those things. If you are getting your pig from a place like that, the transition is going to be really a lot easier. Whereas if you're getting your piglet from like a barn setting, it's never been in the house or it's spent a week or two in the house, it's going to be more of a transition, because we don't really realize it, but our houses are scary to animals. You think about like all the noises around, like people walking and doors slamming and my kids running up and down the stairs, and fans, and Topanga hates my blender. It's loud and scary, and she's been around it many, many times. So there are a lot of noises in our house that can be scary to a new pet. So I would say, a new piglet needs to have its own small, safe space. So put it in its area. Try to be calm. Try not to do a whole lot of like picking up the pig or carrying it all over the place for the first day or two. Give it some time. A new piglet needs to learn its surroundings. It needs to learn that it's safe. And it also needs to learn how to be by itself, because in a litter, like my piglets, they're crated separately for crate training. But other than that, they're really never alone. So once they go to their new home, they need to learn how to be alone. They need to learn that it's okay to be alone, that the bed is all theirs. So that's fine. They don't have to fight anybody. There's no competition for anything. So give your piglet a day to just relax and stay calm. Sit in there with them for an hour or so. Leave them for an hour or so. Sit with them for an hour or so. Leave them for an hour or so. Don't spend so much time with them in that first couple days that when you go back to work or the kids go back to school, it's going to be disappointing for them, because they're going to be used to spending so much time with you. So let them learn how to be alone too. Other than that, I would say don't try to tackle anything ambitious like a bath. Even, like sometimes I've had piglets shipped to me, or I've picked up piglets that were just a mess because they were so nervous about transport. Mine generally aren't that way because I drive them in the car and all kinds of things to get them used to it, but it could still happen that your piglet is messy. I would still say give it a day or two, at least. I would say at least a week, but if it's really messy, then you can try after a couple days, but give the piglet a couple days before you try to do anything like take it for a walk or anything like that. Let it stay in its area and just adapt. And I would say, I know everybody wants to have people over to see their new baby, and I totally get that. If you can, try to give it a couple days. If you can't, then be mindful of noise and things like that, just so that you don't stress the piglet out. But for the most part, my piglets transition very well. There's not a huge issue there. Okay, next question. Until the new litter is potty trained, is there a huge mess? I would say a little bit of both. I put litter boxes in there immediately, those rabbit pans that I use, and I try to set the piglets up for success in the sense that I put the litter boxes where they instinctively want to go anyways. So they instinctively want to go in the corners, so that's the first place I put them. Now, sometimes the mother will move them around, and so that's inevitably what happens. She moves it out of the corner and they go in the corner, so I have to clean those corners out. But for the most part, and even like a piglet's poop before it starts eating food, it's just while it's nursing, is very, very, very tiny. It kind of looks like a mustard seed. It's really, really small. It's really seedy, so it's not super soft. And it's kind of awesome because it's easy to clean up. They pee a lot, obviously, but as long as they go in the litter boxes, it's not bad at all. So not really. I would say the first couple days are rough because they pee all over the blankets and things, but after that, after a few days, that instinct kicks in where they want to go away from their bedding area. So I try to capitalize on that. Next question. Is Priscilla still inside and nursing the triplets, the Toy Story litter? And no, she's not. I have weaned them. I took a full week of her going in and out and in and out and in and out. And this week they are officially weaned and just eating solid food, and they're really doing well. How many mother pigs and how many daddy pigs do I have? I don't have a lot of pigs. I have 2 females that I breed, Priscilla and Loretta Lynn, and I have 1 male right now that I breed. His name is Axel. And then I have a rescue pig named Dolly, who was bred once, but I don't breed her. And then I have Jolene. Jolene is a baby. She is outside in the building, and I will breed her when she's 2. She is 1 now, so we have this whole year to wait until, just let her grow and be a pig and have fun. And she's a sweetheart. I'm excited to breed her because she's spotted and her babies are gonna be beautiful. And then, as you know, I have Axel. Axel is a baby downstairs. He's still in the house. I will eventually use him for breeding, but obviously not until he's much older. So to answer that question, I have 3. 2 females and 1 male, and that's all I breed right now. That's why I only have 4 litters a year. They each have 2, and a lot of times that 4th one overlaps into another year. So I don't push it. I wait to breed them again until their bodies are, they've put on all that weight and they're happy and they're just being a pig. I like to give them time in between. Okay. Suggestions, as I get a lot of questions about suggestions about beds and blankets and toys and food and harnesses and I'm happy to give my opinion. They are just my opinion. I've used a lot of different things and I tend to stick with the things that work well. So I was specifically asked about beds, and this person also wanted non-toxic natural material type of a thing. And that's how I am too. I'm a very naturally minded person. I'd rather have natural than synthetic. As far as a bed goes, we've gone through, in 2 years, we've probably gone through 30, 40 beds. And I've just tried so many. When pigs are little, and by little I mean under a year old, some worse than others, but sometimes they will pee on their bed. And sometimes it's a potty training issue. Sometimes it's a territorial issue. Sometimes it's a lazy issue. They just don't want to get up and go to the litter box. Sometimes it's an I can't hold it, like a bladder issue, or a maybe they get like a UTI type of a thing. There's a lot of different reasons. Sometimes a pig will do it just to spite you because maybe they got in trouble. Think about a toddler. Pigs are very much like a toddler. So I would say, like, when it comes to a bed, don't spend money on a bed, a really nice bed, until your pig is like a year old or so. I like to just, our TJ Maxx used to have beds for like $2.99, $3.99. They raised the price, so I don't buy them there as much anymore. But I literally will buy cheap beds for my piglets. Cheap beds, nothing over $10, because I have to wash them quite a bit. Not because they pee on them, mostly because maybe they stepped in a litter box and they accidentally stepped in poop and tracked it. That's probably the biggest reason why I wash beds over and over again. Or maybe like a mother will come in and she'll walk on it or lay on it and it was a rainy, muddy day outside. So now Topanga's really good. I spent a good bit of money on a bed for her, and it worked out great. It's just like a big dog bed, comfy with a big cushion, and I can take off the case and I can wash it. So I like that if she were to get muddy or something. So as much as I know you want to buy like a really nice, beautiful, sweet looking bed for your new piglet, just be prepared for it to get ruined. If they potty on it and you can't really wash it well. I bought so many beds that as soon as I washed them, they were just kind of wonky and didn't look good and didn't work great. So just be careful there. I would say like Chewy has some great beds for when the pig is older. Now there's like these raised beds, like a Karanda bed type thing. You can get like a knockoff on Amazon. They're like a raised bed and they're not soft. They're so they're easy to wash. Like even like we use them with our pigs downstairs. I use it for Topanga sometimes. It's nice because they can't rip them apart, they can't tear them apart, and if they do potty on them or something gets on them, they're easy to clean off. So I like those too. A lot of it is your preference. You know, like how much money you want to spend, all that is totally up to you and what you want to do. I would say probably just try a couple out. You're probably not going to be able to get a bed that's the size for an adult pig for a piglet, and I'll tell you why, because they won't see it as their bed. They will see it as their area, and then there's a good chance they'll potty in one end of it. So I would say to get a cheap bed that you can just wash a couple times and toss while they're little. There are some that they're so cute. They're like, they have a base, but then they have almost like a sleeping bag part on the top of it. And pigs just love those. So I would say if you don't mind buying a couple, I would say start out with like a small or medium size and then just move up as the pig gets older. Those beds tend to do really well, although I don't know that they're like super washable. I have a very small igloo one downstairs and I've washed it twice and it's falling apart. So I would say just be mindful and just keep that in mind, you know, that you're probably gonna have to buy more than one. That's okay. It's not a big deal as long as you're not spending a ton of money on them.